Isn't that a wonderfully silly piece? It like captures the sense of humor of my dad. I was trying to figure out what to say here, and I was thinking some of the sort of details about him that people don't really know. Growing up with Jim Henson, I was just remembering the other day that he had this wonderful habit of he couldn't do anything without doing sound effects. This is just him in normal life. Like if he had to get a pen out of his pocket, he'd say, "Dad, have you got a pen?" And he'd go, "Yeah, sure." And if he did anything, he had to go with sound effects. And if he had pancakes, I can remember it was always the same thing. You get the honey and go, "Would you like some honey?" And it was so funny. And there were four of us that were in 5 years, and my sister Heather is 5 years younger, but there were 4 of us in 5 years, so we were all hideous teenagers at the same time. And during that period of time, I can remember we would, "Dad, you're doing it." And he didn't know it. Honestly, everything he did, he'd say, "Oh, should I stand over here?" Always. Sound effects. Anyway, it's funny. He loved to laugh. He loved silliness and having fun, particularly when working. I know that when we would go and visit the shoots, often the Muppet shoots would go very late at night, and some of the best moments that he would recall, and people that worked around him, and from mostly as a kid watching, would love these moments when it'd be 1:30 in the morning, and you'd have your union camera crew and sound crew, and everybody's like, "What are these guys, these grown adults doing with these puppets?" And then our guys, the puppeteers, would start laughing at what they were doing, and they'd start laughing so hard nobody could even shoot, and then everybody would start laughing, and the camera guys would start laughing. And I think some of the wonderful people who worked with Jim all recall that atmosphere on set where you're laughing so hard that you can't even think, and then you get to work inside of that kind of energy. And I remember when we went to London to do the Muppet Show in '76, they shot the Muppet Show at ATV Studios in Bournemouth in England, and it was right when there was no freelance labor. Everybody was staff everywhere, so the studio, everybody was staff in the studio, the musicians, everybody that was there. And my dad would ask for overtime every episode of the Muppet Show, and they had a policy in England that the only way you could have overtime is if it was with unanimous approval. So literally they would go to everyone, and he would ask every week, and every week they'd come back and say, "I'm sorry, Mr. Henson, we can't give you any overtime." And so we'd have to wrap at 7 p.m. And then we learned that indeed nobody had ever gotten overtime. That Bournemouth, they had never shot past 7. But this infectious atmosphere had so infused that London crew that in the very last episode, in the last day of shooting, I guess the union representatives, I don't know, came to my dad and said, "Mr. Henson, we would like to give you 15 minutes of overtime." And believe it or not, that was a huge deal at Bournemouth. It had never happened. So the very last shot of the last episode of the Muppet Show was actually shot at 7:15. But he had this wonderful infectious energy that it just spread to everybody that worked around him. And when you see him in interviews and stuff, he's often very sober and sincere, but when you worked with him, he was one of the lightest, most wonderful men you can imagine. And he would be so honored now to receive this kind of honor from the Jim Henson, from the Walt Disney Company. He was... I don't even know what that means that I just did that. I have no idea. But he really was a huge fan of Disney, of Walt Disney, and the theme parks particularly, and we went and visited the theme parks many times with him, right up till, he always as an adult, and we all went with him even as adults. And that was always what he felt was about the most wonderful thing in the world were the Disney theme parks. And so this is a really wonderful honor for him, and thank you from the Henson family.
present you the Disney Legends Award. Oh, we got it, okay. Now I'm really honored to present you the Disney Legends Award for legendary contributions in film and television awarded to your father,